Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Owaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Owaze, let's spice it up.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Hey guys.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy.
We're back at it. Welcome to the Owaze Show.
Hi.
On ABC 104.7. It's Friday.
It's Friday then. It's Saturday, Sunday,
We're dancing. Why do we dance like you guys can see us?
We have entirely too much energy today.
We've drank almost 3 cups of coffee, and this is in the second half of the day.
Like, within the last 3 hours.
Yeah.
So we're super hyper, but we are back in the studio. It's your girls, Howie and TG, and you are tuned into the Owaze Show. A big shout out to Mike. You just finished listening to the Experience Show as well.
Hey, Mike, our
Love
brother.
Family.
Yes.
Family for leading us into this show the right way as usual.
Yeah, guys, we're here this Friday. We're excited. Mid-December, as we are approaching literally the last few weeks of 2021. It is crazy because me and TG guys started Owaze Show almost a year ago.
Yeah.
We started on New Year's Eve, so International New Year's Eve. So it's approaching. We're excited, and we'll celebrate and talk more about what that show is going to look like in the weeks to come. But today,
we are celebrating our Fridays.
Yes.
Happy Friday, TGIF. We're celebrating it by talking about something that me and Howie have in common, and the thing that has helped us navigate through life for the most part. Why are you out here doing karate? just, are you okay? Did you hurt yourself?
I was trying to get water.
You could have screamed. That's fine.
I could have.
Just punched a mic in the face.
Yeah, guys, I'm glad you don't see half of what's happening in the studio. But
no
yes.
microphones were harmed in the making of the show. But yeah, we're talking about the power of observation, which I feel like isn't something I've ever heard a show about.
I have not, for sure.
Is it weird to say that? I'm not boasting or nothing. It's the truth.
To be honest with you, it hasn't. And I'm glad because a few weeks ago, I was having this conversation by myself, with myself. And I was saying, are people generally as observant as I am? That's not to boast, but I'm very hyper observant. And sometimes you think that people see all the things that you see. And that's not necessarily true. But TG also, like I said, we have very, similar characteristics.
Yes.
We not only are empaths, not only do we have the same sort of like color or style and like things that we wear, but also same of like train of thought as well as observation skills.
It's just a very cohesive unit over here, but
that's why this works.
One of the things that we have noticed is that we are both, like I said, we're not saying this to boast. I think mostly it comes from just developing survival skills throughout our lives.
Oh, trauma.
Most things lead back to childhood trauma. I don't know how else to tell you.
It's true.
When we talk about childhood so often, when we talk about parental relationships, sibling relationships so often, it's because so much of your identity, personality is rooted inside the things you experienced as a kid.
Yep.
So the more I think about it, the more I read, the more I try to look into why I can't just walk into a room and just chill out.
Yeah.
And have to look for exits and like the best shade where light.
This is true in the sense that, remember, there was a time that we had a meeting. Mm-hmm. So it was me, TG, and another one of our friends.
Oh, yeah.
Shout outs to our boy Panda.
What's up, Panda? Panda.
Hey. So we were in the meeting, and me and TG went into the meeting very hyper aware of what was happening, who was in there, what was being talked about, the vibe and such. And
the tone of voice, the body language,
everything.
The eye contact.
Yeah. And we walked out of the meeting, and me and TG were like, so it went such and such. And Panda was like, wait, what? He's like, it was really good. And we're like, nah, we observed this and this and that. He's like, but I did it.
Like, how did you get that information?
Exactly.
He's like, the things they said didn't match their body language or their eye contact or their tone of voices.
Yep.
or how they didn't have any questions and they just wanted to rush along and leave. You can sense you can tell, right? Like,
and that's what I'm trying to say. These things seem like they are obvious to us.
Because they're obvious to us. I do believe it has caused a lot of misunderstandings in my life.
Yep.
And one of the reasons I would rather not have a serious conversation over text.
Ooh, child.
We talk about that all the time.
Child. It's because we have a similar understanding. But the thing is, so many things get lost in translation.
If it's super, super important to me, we can't text it back and forth because I don't get your tone of voice. I don't get your facial cues. I don't get anything. Texts are so dry. And
it's
you're just
so dry.
I don't know if you're kidding. I don't know if you're serious.
And some people are just not good texters. Some people are very dry and straight to the point, and you're just like,
do you
this
not
lacks
care
life.
About me?
Yes. And sometimes the people don't have exclamation marks at the end of the sentence. You're like, are you mad?
Why are you yelling at me?
So exactly. So yes, very much. These are all things that are, geared around being hyper, observant. And we just wanted to talk about what that looks like in today's day and age.
And absolutely also talk about how you can improve these powers, because yes, it is a trauma response for most people, but you can always learn how to do it. You can train your brain how to develop that as part of your character. And I can guarantee you, you'll be a little on edge compared to everybody else, but it's also so keen in picking up all the things that people don't say.
Do you know
with
that
their words, at least?
Yes. Do you know that this is the reason why I thought that I would be good at being a journalist or being in media? Precisely because of this skill. I was like, look at me. I was like, I'm out here observant, seeing all these things.
Yeah.
Exactly. But like TG said, we, I guess, bore this kind of skill out of trauma.
Yeah.
But it has served us in our life as well. And you don't have to, go through a traumatic experience to gain the skill, but
hopefully you won't have to.
Yes. But for those of you who are like, wait, I want to be able to be observant. I want to be able to be keen about these kind of things when I walk into a room or when I'm dealing with people or a situation.
Yes.
We'll talk about how you can within the show.
Well, what do you think about that? You can hit us up on our Telegram. It's at Awaze Show, AWAZE SHOW. You'll see a very pretty picture of me and Howie staring into a microphone.
Oh my goodness,
a drawing. I had to change the profile picture.
I love it. I love it.
But yeah, you can find us on Telegram, like I said, at Awaze Show, AWAZE SHOW. Do you consider yourself an observant person? What are the first things you notice when you walk into a room?
Ooh.
What things do you pay attention to when you talk to people?
I want to know that. Yes, please make sure to hit us up on our Telegram, like TG said, and you can also follow us on all social media platforms, and that's Awaze Media. So you have to find us at Awaze, AWAZE, Media, MEDIA.
Everywhere. Our videos are out. 2 videos are out, actually, so you guys can go check it out.
Exactly. Let's get to a musical break. And then when we come back, y'all, we're going to have more here talking about being hyper observant on The Awaze Show. Let's get it. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Awaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Awaze, let's spice it up. All right, we're back at it again.
You know what I realized?
What's up?
To this day, if I'm texting people and I need to say you, or even if I'm talking to you and somebody asks me an obvious question where the answer is you, I will still say, you. I'm sorry. I'm annoying. This is how I'm configured. Deal with it. So Soulja Boy is iconic, technically.
He is. He's left an impact, I guess.
The way you said impact, you regretted it immediately.
Welcome back, y'all, to the Awaze Show here on ABC 104.7. Happy Friday. Yes. So we're talking about being hyper observant.
Yeah.
In today's show.
And don't get me wrong, because we talk about it in such good terms.
Yes.
It's cool.
Yeah?
No. It's facing me.
I was like, what's happening? All right,
When you're talking, it's facing
we're
me.
going live. That's what we're doing, guys. So
Hello. But what I was saying was, I'm not saying it's a great thing. I want people to know we're not saying that being hyper observant is a good thing.
being observant. So this is what we want to say. Being observant is a good thing. Being hyper observant means
That's
you
just
are
anxiety.
on. It is. You're just on edge.
Yeah.
You're constantly, just multitasking in the sense that you are with the person that you are. You know what I mean with, I guess, in the sense that you're paying attention to them, but you're paying attention to several things that are going on. And like we said, this is more of like a trauma response.
Yes.
So we don't want you to be hyper observant. We just want you to be a little bit more observant in case you're not.
Yes, and it helps. It helps you assess a situation, choose the best outcome for you, make it out in time.
Make it out in time.
Get out of it in time.
Have you ever been in a situation in which you were like, okay, I need to look for the exit, and you had to actually make a run for it?
Yes.
Okay. I wasn't expecting you to say yes. All right.
I swear to God, and he could possibly hear the story. So the first date I ever went on, I feel like was the first time I felt like, yep, need to leave. Gotta go.
Seriously.
Gotta get out of this room immediately. It's back home, obviously.
Okay.
And there was this, and I didn't really go out when I was back home. My parents were super strict, so I didn't do dates. I didn't do hanging out. I've never been to a bar at that point ever.
Okay.
And this was my first date. I was excited. I told everybody. I got dressed up, and I went to this place. And this place ended up being like a cave, like a man-made cave.
Oh. Ooh. Okay.
It's already red flags.
It's already going down.
It's already giving
the drain.
such red flags.
Okay.
Like super creepy. Couldn't see a damn thing. Had to like touch the walls.
You know I can't see. So if you couldn't see, this is bad.
It's pitch black.
I mean, I can't see in the dark, guys. I literally can't.
She has night blindness. But I walked in, and anybody from OSI knows exactly the place I'm talking about, because that was like the high schoolers' date spot. But they light like a little candle, and I went and I sat, and immediately alarm bells, just like strange cave, stranger danger, get out. And then things escalate. I'm just gonna say things escalated from then on. And they went to places that I had no intention of them turning to.
Right.
But the really awesome part about it is, while I was walking into the cave, I made sure to memorize all the turns I took.
So you know how to get out.
Yes, which is a weird thing for anybody to do. But I was like, 2 steps, turn a right, and then 3 more steps and turn left.
That's not weird, because that's equally how I function. For example, people like have always been like, how do you know Addis Ababa so well?
You do.
Because I know Addis very well. And it's because wherever I go, I'm always like, what if I need to leave and I need to remember how to get home?
Yeah.
If I don't remember how to get home,
I'm gonna be in trouble.
I'm gonna be in trouble.
Such a weird
How
thought.
do you go to that thought? You think of danger when there's no sense of danger. But possibly, if there is, I always think of, how do I get home, especially in the weirdest parts of the city that I haven't been to before.
If it's dark, if there's too many turns, honey, my eyes are...
Yes, like I said, again, trauma response, but it's helped me learn Addis Ababa very well.
Yes, absolutely. And everybody was surprised I was able to run out of there so fast. I didn't hit nothing. I didn't, I didn't bump into nothing, because it was so dark. You could only like...
Track star mode.
And I ran through it without touching anything.
Track star
in
mode.
the pitch black, and I'm like,
bravo.
I'm a survivor.
Cue in.
I'm a survivor. Absolutely.
All right.
So yes, being an observant person, especially, I feel like we are kind of hyper observant.
Yes.
Definitely comes from a place of, we just think we're in danger all the time.
Yes.
Somebody said men have no natural predators. That's why they're less observant. And I'm like,
ooh.
We'll discuss that when we come back.
We shall. But I know that there are those of you who are tuning in who are like, okay, I want to know how I can be a bit more observant. and we wanted to give a few tips. At least we'd start just to give a couple, and then after the 7 o'clock news, we can continue with more.
So if you don't consider yourself an observant person and you want to be a little bit more observant, there are some tips.
Yes.
And tricks that you can use. And it all comes from a place of practice at the end of the day.
Oh, absolutely.
Practice makes perfect.
Practice. So, one thing that I have seen that I consistently do is that, especially if I'm going to someplace new, I will always look for exits.
Yes.
I will always try to figure out, how do I get back home?
Yes.
Activate, Dorothy, Alice in Wonderland. There's
Dora the Explorer is here.
Yes, that's a better one to say. Just trying to figure out, how do I leave? How can I go home? But like I said, those are more trauma responses. So I guess when you're going someplace new, it's always good to know how to, go to the bathroom, or how you came back in, if there is a place to leave, but also just, wanting to become more familiar with the place in terms of like where to sit.
Yes.
Do you do that? Do you sit in certain
Absolutely.
places so that you can just be more observant of the scenario?
Absolutely. I can't turn my back to the whole place. Are you crazy?
I can't turn my back to the door. That's what it
know.
is for me.
I know.
Have you noticed that I'll never sit my back to the door? Never. So for me, what I'm saying is, if you're going to a new place, look at what's around. Like, you know what I mean? Like, look at the scenery, having just to get, I guess, a grip of what the place looks like, just so that you can feel comfortable. Even if you're like, that's never been something that I've noticed, try it.
Yes, absolutely. That's definitely one of the advices I give anybody, is the next time you're at a cafe, just having a cup of coffee. Most of the time you stare at your phone or you talk to the person you're with. But the next time you do go to a cafe, do me a favor, put the phone down and actually look around. And not just at the furniture and the layout of the house, but at the people. And it's creepy to be staring at people in public places.
Don't you know what I mean,
So
zone
be
into
subtle.
people. Yes.
But there's little things you notice when you're like us, like how much space, personal space, is in between people who are sitting together. Like, how much space are they maintaining? Is there physical contact? If so, are they both comfortable? You can see these things in people's faces. Anybody who's laughing, genuinely look at their smile or their laugh. Because most of the times you will notice, that wasn't a real smile.
It doesn't reach the eyes.
It really, like, there's a thing of when you smile for real, it really does light up your eyes.
True.
And fake smiles can be spotted very easily when you're an observant person. And this isn't just to be creepy, but like,
It helps you to understand human behavior more.
enhance you don't know any of these people, you don't know their stories, you know nothing about them. And this is a perfect game I like to play, where I sit there and I just observe you. And I look at you.
Yeah.
And how you put yourself together, how you behave, how you move, the confidence you have, everything, the way you carry yourself. And I will just sit and observe. And people are very interesting. You'd be surprised what you learn.
And that's true. Like, I do this. So I do this not just only when I go out to like hang out with my friends or at a cafe, but I also do this, for example, if you go out, to a lounge, or if you go out with your friends and people are dancing.
Partying.
This is also very fun, where I'll just sit down and I observe the interactions that people have when they're partying. So how they are when they dance, or how they are. It's just really amusing to me.
It's hilarious.
But also you understand how people are in such a happy situation.
Drunk people are the most fun to observe, and we'll explain later.
Yes, but also like what TG's saying, if you happen to go to a cafe early, if you're waiting for a friend, or even a friend's like, hey, I'm gonna go to the restroom, just I'll be back in a moment, you can even take that time to just sort of be a bit observant too.
Take that second to gauge your entire, just everything around you. It's so much fun. I promise, it's like a game as far as I'm concerned.
To me, I feel like it's exercising your mind a little bit.
It absolutely is.
We're just trying to give you guys a simple thing that you can do. Literally, this is something that you can do any day.
Right now. I'm sure there's multiple things in your house that you haven't noticed while you're sitting here. things in your car that you haven't paid attention to. You're like, has that always been there? On that note, we are going to head out for the news, but we will be back.
Yes, we will be.
In a bit. Shout outs to everybody that's on our live. Shout outs to Amalurk that said this place is power.
Ooh.
Thank you.
I love it.
Damn.
Wow.
Michaela Medi sent us a bunch of peppers, red peppers.
For Owazi.
Yes.
Owazi peppers. I love it. I love it.
Amalurk, very, very supportive. Shout outs to you.
We love the love. Keep it coming, y'all.
We'll be back, Amela. We will be back in like 30 minutes to do the second half. So make sure to stay with us. We're giving out tips on how to be a more observant person and how that can help enhance your interactions and how far you go.
Absolutely. Absolutely, y'all. You guys can catch us on all social media platforms at Awaze Media. That's AWAZE MEDIA. And if you want to just talk to us on Telegram while we're live right now, you can catch us at Awaze Show. That's AWAZE SHOW. Let's get to some tracks and we'll see you guys after 7. Don't move a muscle. Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Awaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Awaze, let's spice it up. Yo, welcome back, y'all, to the Awaze Show.
I was gonna do the most country hello. I don't know why. I was gonna be like, "Well, howdy ho."
You're better at accents than I am. I can't.
I feel like I should start doing them more. I don't know why.
You're better at accents than me. I sound like the Count from Sesame Street. Every
my
accent that I do,
God.
it's
Get out of
trash.
here.
It's trash, bro.
Now I want to hear your accent.
I'm definitely not.
That comes with being observant, by the way.
Okay.
That's how you learn how to do accents. It's just
I'm becoming
mimicking too.
You are good at that.
I'm good at mimicking.
But sometimes your tongue won't cooperate.
True.
But I've become a little bit better at British accents.
Oh,
There's
yeah?
certain things that
I
I'm like,
see.
I can say. So I'm kind of like, yay, and I take pride in that because I'm trash at accents.
I'm
so.
sad that my British went from like the Queen's English, like very proper British, very BBC, to like Bunda. Yes, I'm
What
so
happened?
sorry. I watch a lot of KSI and like the Sidemen.
Oh, no. I love KSI, though. I love KSI.
Stop Shibuya KSI. And all of a sudden, I'm just like, I
like
can't
it,
say
though.
any of them because they're all cuss words. I would have loved.
There's nothing that you can actually say that's appropriate.
I swear to God, it's all just terrible languages.
Oh, my God.
And
Okay.
so I apologize, but that's where I am in my British. But welcome back to the show. It's the second hour here on a Friday evening.
Yes,
TGIF.
yes.
Thank God it's Friday. We back in the house.
Yes, we is. So in the first half, we were talking about, I guess, our experiences of being hyper observant. But what we wanted to communicate is how you guys can just be more observant, not hyper. We ain't trying to have you go that far.
Observant minus the anxiety.
Exactly. So just being smart about it. And we wanted to give you guys some tips. We've been getting some messages, right, about people's experiences.
Yes. One of them cracked me up.
What did the message say?
Jose was talking about, what's up, guys? I'm Yosef. I'm
Jose or Yosef?
Yeah, same. His Telegram name is Jose.
Hey, bro.
He said, I'm more of a judgmental guy when I observe people in a room. The first thing I observe is how well they're dressed, because of the way how a person dressed speaks a lot about their personality and their attitudes. Now, first of all, do you agree?
No. Let me tell you why.
Not the judgmental part, Jose.
Not the judgmental
we
part.
judgmental too, don't worry.
Yeah, we ain't trying to be here, lying in these streets. But I don't agree with that. And what I mean by that is just because a person dresses a certain way or looks a certain way doesn't mean that there are good qualities or good attributions that are connected to that person or bad attributions, because those are always misleading. I think we talked about this even off the air.
True. We were talking about it earlier on. We were like, if you're talking about the fact that people are clean and they present themselves in a certain way, then maybe I understand. Like if you're more well put together, I understand if you put effort into looking presentable, not like fly or stylish or have, the best outfits, the most expensive ones. It depends on what your interpretation of what a person looks like, what they wear, is very different from me.
For me, can I be real?
Shoot.
So, yes, obviously, I think as human beings, we like to see people who are put together, people who are clean, people who take care of themselves, people who have a great sense of style.
They're just more appealing.
They are. People who are physically attractive. We're like, oh, you are pleasant to look at. All of those things make you pleasant. Does that equate to those people being dope people, or people being, positive, or people who have...
Just good.
No, not at all.
You really can't tell a lot about a person by looking at how they dress, especially their personalities. You can tell.
I don't think those correlate.
It can be status. It could be even money. It can be so misleading.
People can, by the way, don't mislead people who dress very bland or plain as people being broke. Those are lies. And don't assume
Watch Steve Jobs. How many chains he got on.
Okay. That's just to say that for me, yes, I observe those things as well. We're all human, yes. But I more so observe body language.
Yes. The confidence in the clothes means a lot more, speaks more to me than the clothes themselves.
Yes, and how you talk, how you treat people. By the way, I'm always observant, especially when I used to go on dates.
How you treat the waitress?
How you treat the people around you. How you treat a meal that you received that maybe was not your exact order. Just how you are, when people are around you. Like, those are things that, for me, I'm like, is this person dateable? Would I go on a second date? And so these are just some things that we're saying in terms of appearance. Like, for me, it's more than just that. But what are some other tips that we can give you guys in terms of how to just be more observant? And we said a few prior to the musical break.
True. And at the end of the day, I think the best thing, first of all, it all depends on what it is you want to observe. Why you want to become more observant dictates how you should be practicing these things.
Yes.
Okay, so we're talking about increasing your powers of observation. So are you using it to be better at business? Are you a salesperson who wants to gauge, okay, is this customer going to actually stay and buy stuff, or are they just going to waste my time?
Are you using it so that you can better have human interaction, or to cultivate the relationships you have with people better, to understand human behavior better? So there are different ways in which you can be more observant.
Yes.
And there's so many different tips to give you guys, but we wanted to give you guys just a few that you can incorporate into your everyday life. Yeah, and I think before the musical break, we talked about disconnecting from technology. So just being like, hey, if you go to the cafe, to meet with friends, or just to, hang out, if you get there early, or if somebody's taking a bathroom break, and if you're just chilling,
if you have a little bit of time
on your hands, just sort of being observant of your surroundings, putting your phone down, because even though we live in the digital era, we do I think lack being present in the moment, simply because we're so attuned to our phone as opposed to what's around us. But one thing I can also say, and this is something that I do that I've realized helps me to be observant, is that when I communicate with people, I'm not passive. Because when you're passive, you're kind of just looking around. You're not really...
People have trouble holding eye contact.
True.
I agree.
And for me, when I communicate with someone, I'm intentional. So I'm looking at you, and I'm also, taking, into account how you talk, and, how you look like when you talk, when your eyes light up in a certain topic, or just I'm being intentional about the way that I communicate with you. I think that really does help in being present and understanding human behavior better too.
True. And I do believe initially when you're practicing to be more observant, you will come off weird.
You don't want to be creepy. I think we should make it clear. Don't be creepy, y'all. There's a way to do it
up and down.
Which, by the way, stop that. Stop. Disclaimer, I have to say this. There are people, when they talk to you, they think they're slick, and they'll talk to you and they'll be like, yeah, and they'll look at you up and down while you're talking. Stop doing that to people.
All of a sudden, my body language is just
I close off. That's uncomfortable, you guys. And I say this to the general public. I love y'all, but stop it. It's really weird.
That's a very Habesha way of
communicating?
just
That's not being intentional. That's not what I mean when I say being
Gross.
intentional. There's a slicker way to do that without someone catching you being that observant.
yes, I call it the Lookie Loop.
What?
I'm kidding. No, the easiest way to do it is to see, like, pick an item in the corner of the room that you can't see, and see how fast you can fully observe it. Like, it could be a person too. It's okay. But give yourself a time restriction. Look at that person, look back, and be like, okay, what color jacket were they wearing?
Yeah.
What was their hairstyle? What types of shoes were they wearing? You know what I mean? It's very simple things to be like at an initial glance. And I will look away and say, okay, what color were their eyes? What was she wearing? Lipstick? What? You know
Are
what
you
I
saying
mean?
just looking at them once as much as you can?
Yes.
So that when you turn away, how
much of the information have
you
I
obtained?
retained? Yes.
Yes.
So that's a very like super easy exercise. If you're scared of looking at people, you can look at a cup, like I did, whatever you want, like a laptop, whatever it is. Look at it very quickly and see, did I notice the brand on it? What color was it? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's very, very easy things that you can do to gauge, okay, how much information do I take away from a certain thing?
when I'm in the moment.
Yes, immediately after I see it, what are the things I noticed about it? If I was to draw it again from memory, how much of it would I really remember?
You know what's interesting?
Testing yourself.
Exactly. I was going to say the brain is more so a muscle. You're basically exercising
Bruh.
it. And I have started to do this very exercise when I wake up from my dreams. I barely remember my dreams anyway.
Keep a dream journal.
I think I need to. And so when I do remember my dreams, I wake up and then I replay as much of the detail of my dream as I can. And I do write it down. I've started to do that when I do remember my dreams. And so you ask yourself just how much of the dream that you remember or the details that you've obtained. So it can also be something that you do with dreams if you feel like you're going to be creepy in public.
Yes, and it all comes from a place of not only understanding your surroundings better, but understanding other people better. And I've said this multiple times. First, be very intentional about why it is that you want to be more observant.
Yes.
Do you just feel like you keep getting played by people because you never see behind people's words into their intentions?
You just feel like you just take people for whatever they say?
Yes.
At face value?
At face value. Do you want to learn because you want to be better at business, where you can observe your surroundings, observe your customers, you can tell what they want, if they're happy with the product? Because as Ethiopians, I do believe we're too shy to tell people we don't like a thing.
Yeah, we're not, I don't want to say confrontational because that's not
We're-
the word, but we
yeah.
just don't speak up for ourselves.
We'll just nod and be like,
Even though I am hating where I am right now. Yeah.
every hairdresser needs to learn.
Oh my goodness. I think, you know what I mean? I've come to a point in which I know how to vocalize what I want.
I have not.
And I do it so sweetly now, but absolutely. And I think, for example, if you're one of those people that easily gets lost, like if you're just like, dang, I really don't know how to, get around, or I really don't know how to. I
need
feel
to
like
learn directions. Yeah.
learning directions, being observant is going to help you to do that.
Absolutely. So once you set the intentions of why is it that I want to learn to be more observant, then you can work out, okay, which scenarios do I need to train myself for?
Yes.
And the biggest advice I can give anybody is to learn what body language means. So it's, yes, we learned it from observing people for so long that your brain kind of catalogs things and says, this means a person's comfortable, this means a person's uncomfortable, this means the person is attracted to you. You know what I mean?
Yes.
We got it from experience, but you don't have to wait that long. And
You don't. We don't want you guys to. We don't want you to
have
suffer.
Yeah, you don't have to experience anything traumatic to be able to pick up these cues. So reading is a beautiful thing, and psychology has come a very long way in which most humans, I know we don't realize it, but most humans have like 5 body language motions that we literally all do without knowing it. That tells you so much about a person.
That's
in their
even
state.
interesting to know.
Right?
Yeah.
I was reading about people who cover their neck. which is something I do. Immediately was
like,
am I making you uncomfortable?
Not at all, not at all.
It's people who cover their stomachs, for example. It's just something I do.
It's not me.
It's something I do, and it's very common with people who are not very comfortable with their bodies. I mean, when I appear slim, you're just so uncomfortable about it that you'll find like a pillow or a bag or something.
TG's saying that, guys, she has the slimmest waist. Stop it now.
Not the point.
People don't know you out here in these streets, but
yeah, it's a response we do, and yes, not all of us realize that we're doing it, which is why it's so universal.
See, these are interesting things because, like you said, there are certain things that once you start to understand patterns, being observant, when you continuously do it, there are patterns that you start to associate with things. And then you're like,
that's the whole point.
This is why this happens. And you start to then understand why certain situations are the way they are, why people are the way they are. It becomes much more clear to you, for sure.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, that's what you need to focus on, is the whole point of becoming more observant is so you understand patterns.
Question. Which of your senses do you use the most in terms of being observant?
My ears, weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Oh, God. I can never wear 2 earphones out in public. I would rather die.
I say this because, yes, in terms of being observant, you should be able to use as many of your senses as possible so that you can remember things and, sort of retain that information more. But obviously, we're going to rely on some of our senses more than others.
True. Where there's the first one where it's just gauging energy, and it's an empath thing.
Yes.
Where you could be the smiliest, bubbliest person in the world, but if I get a bad energy from you, I got a bad energy. I do not care.
100%.
And that's a sixth sense. That's an additional sense that not everybody can have or develop. It really all depends on the life you've lived.
It's divine. I'm just kidding.
It's additional. It's a survival instinct.
It absolutely is, yeah.
As for my 5 existing senses, my ears.
So for you, your ears are the sense that you use the most.
They're so sensitive, it scares me.
Really?
Where a slight tone change, I don't have to see your face. I can detect a tone change. I can hear a laugh and see if it registers. Was your laugh really from like the belly, from in here? Was that a real laugh, or was it from the neck up?
Interesting.
The sounds of it are so different. I feel like people need to understand. And yes, it is definitely a skill where I can listen to 4 conversations at the same exact time.
Yeah.
And reply to all 4 of them with the full comprehension. And just be like, this for you, that for you, and that for you.
Okay.
We're done for today. Which, yeah, it's something that I had to learn because I spent a lot of my childhood sitting in my room listening to sounds of my parents fighting.
Right.
Where I had to stay in my room and figure out if they were laughing, if they were fighting, if it had escalated, if it seemed a little too quiet. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I had to constantly have, whether I was studying or having dinner or getting ready for school tomorrow, I always had to be listening to, because I stayed in my room. I tried to stay out of my parents' faces. I did not want to be the reason they fought.
Yeah.
So I just tended to keep to myself. But while I was in my room, I made sure I was in my room and in the living room at the same time. You're processing that one.
No, I'm not, because that's exactly...
You get it, huh?
That's exactly how I lived. For me, I think the sense, obviously, that I used the most was observing. The amount of information that I'm able to take at once. Being in a room, I can literally sense everything and everyone, but more so I'm the kind of person that feels things even before I get into a room. I already know what it's going to be.
Yep.
I already know what I'm walking into. So for me, I basically rely on the 2, my intuition as well as my sight. So I can even just see when you change a single muscle in your face. Like, I'm very observant. So for me, it has to be my sight. And I think that's why at night, the fact that I can't see things, it really bothers me to my core.
It makes you want to go home, huh?
I feel unsafe. So absolutely. It's interesting. I want, for those of you who are tuning in, to ask yourself, what sense or senses.
didn't even know that was a thing, huh?
Yeah, you probably didn't know, but it definitely helps you to retain information more. But ask yourself, how many senses or what sense predominantly do I use that helps me to be more observant?
Absolutely. Are you better at spotting things with your eyes? Are you better at listening and hearing the differences in the same sentence but different emotions that come from it?
Are you somebody even with smells? Like, do you smell something like, I know where I'm at. I know what's going down.
I know what this is. I know what you're making. I know that smell anywhere. Yeah,
Exactly.
It could literally be anything. But yes, some of your senses are definitely going to be sharper than the others.
Sure.
Fraser said my eyes. My ears too.
It can be both.
You're very lucky. My
Absolutely.
eyes too, but said it's a 4-way tie. 2 eyes, 2 ears.
All right.
See you.
I
That's
get-
a lot
I
of
get it.
senses to have open at all times. It's a lot of information.
No, it's good. The more senses, the better.
Absolutely.
Because you will not just only be present, but you'll remember that. So the next time you encounter that person, that situation, or something of that sort, you'll be like, this isn't new. I've seen this. I've come across this before. So for sure.
I'm definitely the annoying person that goes, did you hear that? Every couple of minutes, it's always, did you hear that? I thought I heard a thing.
I can be like that.
Yeah.
I think for me, like I said, more so it's my eyes, my sight that I'm more in tune with. I do hear things, but I'll be like, y'all see that? Y'all see that?
I heard a thing. All right, let's go for a musical break.
We're almost done, y'all.
Are we?
Yes. CTG said let's go to musical break. We're basically done.
I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what we're up to.
What's happening?
I'm just living life.
Yes, no.
Existing.
Make sure to check us out on all of our social media platforms, guys. That is Awazi Show. Actually, that's on Telegram only. But on our social media platforms, it is Awazi Media. That's AWAZE MEDIA. I was going to say SHOW. We changed it. MEDIA.
I don't know what happened with Howie there. We have a couple questions.
All right.
El Shaddai Talahun said, do you think it has a lot to do with being an empath? Yes.
100%.
In a word, yes.
That, I see, the thing is, we have to also mention the fact that, in case we didn't make it clear, both me and TG are empaths. So it does absolutely relate to that. But you can also still be observant without being an empath.
Yes.
Yes.
The reason we brought this up was so we could talk about, even when you're not an empath, even when you haven't been through things that have activated that part of your brain that places survival above everything else. And for people who are saying, what is an empath? As basically a person who can sense emotions, who can sense energies. For most of us, it is also another defense mechanism, another trauma response that we developed to be able to keep ourselves safe.
But it's also your ability to relate to people as well.
Absolutely.
Your ability to relate to people is going to be much more heightened than other people, simply because of the fact that you're an empath.
And you feel people's feelings, and you
That's the number one thing.
people's energies, and it is literally the most exhausting thing in the world.
That's the number one thing I think about empaths that people say a lot, is the fact that your ability to relate to people, your
too
ability
much.
to transfer what someone's feeling to yourself. It's kind of like you are that person carrying that feeling. It's very draining
when it's
if you don't
none of your
learn
business whatsoever.
if you don't learn how to detach, if you
Yes.
don't learn how to sort of come back to yourself, for sure.
Absolutely. And yes, it comes as part of being an empath, because it relied on all of your senses to be able to gauge a room, understand people's emotions and what they're up to and what they're doing, to decide what you're going to do about it.
For sure.
Are you safe?
For sure.
And so before we leave, final words for people. One, for people who are hyper observant and kind of struggling with it because it puts them on edge. And two, for the people who aren't as observant and want to be.
For people who are hyper observant, I want to let you know that you're not alone, because it does make you feel like you're alone when you think that others are like you and you realize that's not the case. One, there's nothing wrong with you.
You're perfectly normal.
You're beautiful. You're beautiful.
Beautiful. James Blunt all the way.
I know. No, there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. You definitely can be able to use that for your strength as a superpower, as we mentioned, and you can be able to use that in terms of every aspect of your life. So just let yourself know, okay, maybe other people are not like me. That's okay. And I can use this as my strength. So definitely speak that positivity to yourself so that you're not constantly feeling anxious that you're the only one.
Absolutely. And
for people who are not as observant, please utilize these skills. I promise y'all, you might feel like, Dane, I feel weird. I feel like I'm being invasive of people because you're observing people more, you're observing your surroundings more. But I promise you that if you exercise it, it's going to be something that becomes much more natural, and it will be something in which that will help you with your everyday life. I encourage you to exercise it as much as you can.
Absolutely. When it comes to me, to the absorbent, same thing to me as far as I'm concerned. To the people who absorb a little too much, who observe a little too much, I do want to say, find a safe space where you feel like you can let your guard down and don't have to be as observant. For the two of us, it's our houses. It's our homes.
I mean,
luckily enough, we live by ourselves, or I live with someone, you live with someone, but we have our own little spaces where
we have our time.
We feel so comfortable that we don't have to look for exits, and we don't have, you know what I mean? You don't have to constantly be on edge. You need a place you can go to so you can unwind and just be like everybody else for a little bit.
Yeah.
It helps you because you get exhausted from observing so much.
True.
And so, yeah, for us, definitely find a place where you feel the most comfortable or an activity. For the people who aren't as observant, please pick up these skills. Please
Absolutely.
Practice. Please read about human behavior, body language, tone changes, eye contact. Find out as much as you can about these things. So not only are you going to see them, you know how to interpret them and use them to your benefit.
Absolutely. I think being intentional.
Don't use it to become a narcissist, obviously.
Don't use it to be creepy, y'all.
That goes without saying.
If y'all are just like, this will help with my stockings. No, please don't be creepy, y'all. We're trying to help y'all in life. And so thank you guys for tuning in with us for the past 2 hours.
Yes, I'm so sorry that we have to run. And Shadai, I guess we can answer your question once we go off of radio.
Yes, we can. And you guys, once again, can find us on all of our social media platforms at Awaze Media. That's AWAZE But on Telegram, it's Awaze Show. That's AWAZE SHOW.
That is it for us. Stay hydrated. Make good decisions.
Awaze out.
Bye.
Thank God it's Friday. Welcome to your new family. It's the Awaze Show with your hosts Fire and TG every Friday from 6 to 8 p.m.
The best music, entertainment, spicy topics, and so much more.
Awaze, let's spice it up.